These are children in Yakutia who have never felt a summer above 15 degrees. They learn to read ice before they learn to read chapters of a novel. Who know, without being told, exactly how many minutes their skin can stay exposed at -70. When people imagine childhood in the Far East in a place like Yakutia, they usually picture somewhere empty or a place without hope or encouragement, something defined by what it doesn't have. In this video, I want to show you what childhood actually looks like in one of the coldest inhabited places on Earth, from the inside and experiences from children that lived there. And by the end, I think you'll see that these children of Yakut aren't missing anything at all. In most places, going outside to play is simple. All you need to do is to open the door and walk out. Here, there's usually a negotiation with a to-do list. Firstly, if thermometer beside the door reads a -71 degrees, the child looks at it the way a pilot checks weather, and a calculation happening behind the eyes on how many layers of thermal underwear would be enough. How many minutes would he have to play outside, whether it's worth it? In all cases, it is almost always worth it. And those minutes outside are electric. They slide across frozen rivers with the confidence of people who have understood ice since birth. They build walls of packed snow tall enough to stand behind. They race and fall and get up and race again. The cold gives them maybe 20 minutes before their fingers stop cooperating. 20 minutes of everything. When the nearest store that sells toys is a 6-hour drive away, and children learn to make things: a sled from scrap wood, a target from stacked ice blocks, a game from whatever is at hand. Creativity here isn't enrichment, it's the only option. And then the cold wins. It always does, eventually. They come inside with frost on their eyelashes, cheeks burning, fingers that won't quite bend for the first minute. They stand near the stove and the warmth hits them like a wall of water. Every child in the Far East knows this feeling, the border between outside and inside. They cross it several times a day, and it never stops being a physical event. Children here carry responsibility differently. A 6-year-old already knows how to stack firewood beside the house, not as punishment, not as lesson. The stove needs feeding, and everyone feeds it. His contribution is small, but it is real. A 10-year-old learns to use a handsaw in the garage, cutting alongside a parent who does not hover, does not panic, does not take the tool away. In much of the world, this would raise alarms. But here in Yakutia, it's how children learn what it takes to keep a household running, in a place that is always trying to freeze it solid. By 9 or 10, most children here move through the village alone, not because their parents are careless, because the village is small, the community is tight, and every adult on every road knows whose child is walking past. She passes houses she knows, a dog she recognizes, a neighbor who nods from a doorway. Independence here isn't reckless, it's earned, and the whole village participates in keeping it safe. School is small here. Sometimes the entire school has fewer students than a single classroom in a city. The teacher knows every name, every family, every fear of the chalkboard and love of recess. In this room, education is not a system, it's a relationship. And what's taught isn't always what you'd expect. There's math, there's reading, but there are also things no city curriculum includes. How to recognize frostbite by its color, what ice sounds like when it's unsafe, how to dress so the cold can't find the gaps. Knowledge that isn't academic, knowledge that keeps you alive. The walk to school is often the most beautiful part of the day. Not because it's comfortable, it isn't, but because the landscape these children move through is extraordinary. Pale light on snow, smoke rising into motionless air. Their footprints the only marks for 100 meters in every direction. They don't notice this beauty consciously, not yet. To them, it's just the walk, but it's entering them, quietly, becoming part of how they see everything. When your entire class is 8 children, friendship works differently. You don't choose from a crowd. You grow up with whoever is there, the quiet one, the loud one, the one who argues about everything, the one who shares without being asked. There's no social hierarchy because there aren't enough people to form one. After school, they gather in someone's home and use every remaining hour. Cards on the floor, arguments about rules, laughter that fills a small room completely. The intensity of their connection is startling. And these children know each other the way most adults never know anyone. But there is also solitude. A teenager stands at a window, looking past the last house in the village. Beyond it, nothing. No other buildings, no other lights. Just white distance that extends until it becomes something you can't quite name. Children here learn to be alone with themselves earlier than most. They learn to sit with quiet, to find something inside that doesn't require stimulation. It's a strange gift, but it is a gift. And sometimes the outside world arrives, a package from a relative in the city. Inside, new colored pencils, a small chocolate bar. He holds each pencil up, examining its color with a seriousness that catches in your chest. Not because he's deprived, but because distance makes every arrival an event. The ordinary becomes extraordinary when it has traveled 1,000 kilometers to reach you. By 13, children here can do things that would astonish their urban peers. Start a stove, cook a meal from stored vegetables, repair a broken sled runner, read the weather by looking at the sky. She doesn't think of these as achievements. She thinks of them as normal. But somewhere around this age, a question begins to form. Not always spoken, sometimes just a feeling. The teenager stands at the edge of the village where the road extends into open distance, toward the regional town, toward the city, toward the rest of the world. Stay or leave. It's the question every child in the far north eventually faces, and it begins forming much earlier than anyone expects. An old woman watches from her fence as children play across the road. Her expression holds something layered, recognition, memory, something that might be pride. She was one of them. She played on the same road, in the same cold, with the same bright shouts. The village was smaller then. The winters felt the same. Childhood in the Far East is not less. It is not deprived. It is not something to pity. It is play in extreme cold, and the warmth that follows. Responsibility carried without complaint. Knowledge that other children are never asked to learn. Fierce, deep friendship. Solitude that doesn't frighten. Competence that arrives early and stays forever. These children will grow up, some will leave, some will stay, but all of them will carry this place inside them. The cold, the silence, the small warm rooms, the vast white distances, like a second skeleton. Something that holds them up from the inside wherever they go. If you'd like to see more quiet stories like this one, I'd be glad to have you here. Thank you for watching.